Guys, welcome back to the channel. It's a little past 11 p.m. here in Ghana, and the Ghana Football Association about an hour ago released a statement saying that they had responded to FIFA in a lengthy 8-page letter they took to FIFA. It's essentially looking to debunk or throw away South Africa's protest even before FIFA has a look at it on Tuesday, the 23rd of November. Essentially, the FA's General Secretary has broken down the FIFA's rules for filing a protest. Some things the South African Football Association, according to the Ghana Football Association, did not get right in filing their protest to FIFA and Confederation of African Football. I'll be taking you through the document and giving you explanations from what I have gotten from my fellow journalists on this issue here. As usual, subscribe if you have not. Click on the notification bell to get more updates. So the Ghana Football Association, after the South African Football Association filed a protest looking at bad officiating in the game, biased match fixing, match manipulation in the game, in the final World Cup qualifier game on 14th of November, filed a complaint on Monday the 15th of November. Now, first of all, they were asked, the GFA were asked to respond after FIFA acknowledged receipt of South Africa's letter of protest. And now the Ghana Football Association's response to the complaint lodged by the South African Football Association says here that we write to acknowledge receipt of your letter on the above mentioned subject matter dated 17th November 2021 with reference number stated there, requesting the Ghana Football Association to send its comments, if any, by November 20th 2021. And now these are the facts that the FA stated. They said a fact of the match and aftermath. The senior national team of Ghana Black Stars played against the senior national team of South Africa, the Bafana, on Sunday, November 14, 2021 at 7 p.m. at the Cape Coast Sports Stadium. Letter says here that by 11 p.m. on the said match day, the match had been completed and the two teams and all stakeholders left the stadium. Now, according to the match commissioner in his report to FIFA, the only incident is that the South Africans have launched a complaint that they want the match to be investigated, in which they will write to CAF and FIFA. And now this is where it gets interesting. The Ghana Football Association says, kindly note that it was an oral complaint to the match commissioner and not a written complaint. We'll refer to this matter later. And now correspondence from FIFA. Now on November 17, 2021, the GFA received the correspondence from Julien De, head of judicial bodies, adjudicatory at FIFA, on the above mentioned subject matter, stating as follows. And it states the letter that FIFA wrote in response to South African Football Association that they had received the letter and that they were looking at the Ghana Football Association to respond to it and provide any comment, if any, on the subject matter. The first letter from the South African Football Association dated November 15th, 2021, addressed by AVD Tebogo Motlanthe, CEO of the South African Football Association, to the FIFA General Secretary is as follows. Complaint. So looking at the letter that South Africa presented is what they are stating here. It said the complaint and protest, match fixing, match manipulation, corruption and bribery into the referee and other match officials concerning the game 14th November Ghana versus South Africa. And now the South African Football Association will pay the protest fee within 72 hours. Now when you file a protest, according to what is being said here, you have to pay a certain amount. Now that amount will be refunded to you after issue or your case has been admitted. And now the second letter from SAFA to FIFA dated 15th November 2021, addressed by AVD Tebogo Motlanthe, CEO, to the FIFA General Secretary is as follows. Complaint, protest, match fixing. Refer to the above matters and wish to formally record our complaint end protest concerning the wrongful and unlawful conduct of match referee and other officials concerning match fixing, match manipulation, including corruption, bribery, in respect to the game between Ghana and South Africa. Our complaint and protest is a follow-up to the complaint which was lodged to the match commissioner by our head of delegation, Mr. Aubrey Batman, and our team manager, Mr. Vincent Checker, regarding the conduct of the referee and other match officials during their aforesaid game. We specifically call upon FIFA to investigate the match referee and other officials. We were looking forward to the document. We will be forwarding all relevant documents and detailed complaint within the next 72 hours. And this is where the Ghana Football Association's comments come in. Now, the GFA wishes to place the following comments on record in this matter before the disciplinary committee. Now, they said that the South African Football Association, first of all, did not properly lodge the protest. It is the case of the GFA that the purported protest lodged by the South African Football Association violates the provisions of the regulations for the competition and the disciplinary code of FIFA. The purported protest must have been in writing and lodged with the match commissioner after the match. This was not done. Rather, an oral complaint was lodged. So, SAFA, according to the comments from the FA, did not do it well. They had to write a letter, and they did not do it. And they quote the article in which it is in the regulation, Article 14, subsection 2 of the regulations FIFA World Cup 2022 preliminary competition states as follows: unless otherwise stipulated in this article, a protest shall be submitted in writing to the FIFA match commissioner within 2 hours of the match in question and followed up with a written report, including a copy of the original protest to be sent by email to FIFA General Secretariat within 24 hours of the end of the match. Otherwise, they shall be disregarded. So, if what the FA is saying is right, and if South Africa Football Association did not truly file the complaint in writing and they did it just orally, the case might be thrown out before it is even looked at by FIFA. And now it is very clear from the above mandatory provision that a written protest must be submitted to the match commissioner within 2 hours after the match at the Cape Coast Sports Stadium. This was not done by the South African Football Association. Now, again, the provision demands without fail that a full written report, including a copy of the original protest, be sent by email to FIFA General Secretariat within 24 hours of the end of the match. It is the position of the GFA that by 11 p.m. of November 15, 2021, the SAFA were strictly expected to send to FIFA a full written report, including a copy of the original protest, to meet the 24-hour requirement, as well as others stated in the provision. Remember that these are mandatory provision once shall, the word shall, was used. Once again, from the documentation of this matter, there was no original protest written to the match commissioner, and none was attached to the 2 letters sent by SAFA to FIFA, because there was not none. This is because an oral complaint to a match commissioner is not a protest. So essentially, the GFA is looking for this matter to be thrown out before it is even sat on by FIFA. That is essentially what they are saying, that the protest was not lodged well by SAFA, and because of that, they have even violated how protests are lodged. Probably an oversight from SAFA, probably they did, and the FA is not privy to it. We'll find out in the coming days. It is very clear from the foregoing that the purported protest by South African Football Association does not meet the requirements of Article 14, subsection 2 of the regulations FIFA World Cup 2022 preliminary competition. This strict provision of the competition regulations, Regulation FIFA World Cup 2022, finds support in Article 46, subsection 1 and 46, subsection 2 of the FIFA Disciplinary Code headed protest. The two provisions stipulate as follows. Associations and their clubs are entitled to lodge protests. Protests must reach the disciplinary committee in writing, indicating the relevant grounds within 24 hours of the end of the match. The 24-hour limit cannot be extended for the sake of smooth running of the competition. The corresponding competition regulations may shorten the protest deadline accordingly. It's very clear that the request by the SAFA in their second letter that we shall be forwarding all the relevant documents and a detailed complaint within the next 72 hours is misplaced and violates the clear FIFA regulations. Consequently, we therefore call on the respected FIFA disciplinary committee to dismiss the purported protest with a punitive fine and a huge cost. So essentially, they are saying SAFA has wasted everyone's time. They didn't even file the complaint well, so they have to be charged and fined heavily. Failure of payment of protest fee as required by regulations is another comment they have posted here. They say that SAFA they have failed to pay the money. It's also the case of the Ghana Football Association that the purported protest filed by SAFA must be accompanied by the protest fee, and that a request by SAFA to pay the protest fee later violates Article 46 subsection 3 of the FIFA Disciplinary Code. Article 46 subsection 3 of the FIFA Disciplinary Code stipulates as follows: the protest fee of CHF 1000, it must be paid when the protest is lodged, and it is reimbursed only if the protest is admitted in full. Again, within the context of 24 hours limitation to lodge a protest, it is very instructive that SAFA failed to pay the protest fee and rather indicated that the protest fee will be paid. It's the position of the GFA that once the South African Football Association failed to pay the protest fee on or before 11 p.m. on Monday, November 15, 2021, it rendered the purported protest void and in nullity. Wow. On time limits, the provisions of the FIFA Disciplinary Committee Code under Articles 34, subsection 5 and Article 34, subsection 6 are very clear. If a time limit is not observed, the defaulter loses the procedural rights in question. Time limits laid down by this code may not be extended. So the money that has to be paid when lodging a complaint. If SAFA did not do this, I just hope that they did all this and it is a case of the FA not being privy to that information. So the FA is saying they didn't pay the money that is supposed to be paid, hence protest should fall flat and it should not move on. In any case, the SAFA has not and did not ask for an extension of time. They could have done that in any manner or form whatsoever. The SAFA rather dictatorially tells FIFA and its disciplinary committee when they will pay a protest file, when they will protest, and when and how they want to bring any evidence or documentation. We note that SAFA arrogates to itself powers of FIFA regulations and its disciplinary committee in determining when and how they want to do things outside the regulations of the association football, and this must not be allowed to fester. The judicial power to grant extension of timelines lies in the bosom of the judicial body, here the disciplinary committee, and not a party to a protest. Consequently, we therefore call on the respected FIFA disciplinary committee to dismiss the purported protest with a punitive fine and a huge cost for not paying and saying they will pay later, and telling FIFA when they want to pay and how they will, when they will bring the evidence and everything. It's like they are dictating things to FIFA when it is clear that that is not how things are done. This is what the FA General Secretary is saying. Now, provision of no evidence. Now, notwithstanding the fact that protest was not properly lodged, we wish to comment on the content of the second letter that the SAFA sent to FIFA. South African Football Association alleges match fixing and calls on FIFA to investigate. South African Football Association, however, did not provide any evidence or ingredient to support the allegation whatsoever. Thus, with the utmost of respect, The SAFA seeks to send the respected FIFA Disciplinary Committee on a fool's errand or fishing without any direction or evidence whatsoever. We dare say that the World Cup is the most serious competition and the biggest brand of the world, and must not be allowed to be treated with a fake allegation without prima facie evidence. The failure to provide prima facie evidence, in fact no evidence was provided whatsoever, must be punished severely by the respected disciplinary committee. Reputations made over years must not be allowed to be tarnished this way. Note that no mention was made of any Ghanaian officials engaged in match fixing, corruption, or betting. The excuse that the SAFA Association gives in point 4 of the said second letter is that we will be forwarding all relevant documents and a detailed complaint within 24 hours is clearly an afterthought and must be disregarded with contempt it deserves. A South African Football Association must not be allowed to shout wolf and then ask for 72 hours to go and check their eyes. And now go and try and find a passing wolf somewhere else to come and show us. Wow. Ghana Football have prosper. The General Secretary is really an interesting character. It says it's very clear that after the match in Cape Coast, the South African Football Association had no reason or evidence to file a protest within the regulations of the competition. And up to the time they wrote the letters to FIFA, they still did not have any reason or evidence to give FIFA. Consequently, we therefore called on the respected FIFA Disciplinary Committee to dismiss the purported protest with a punitive fine and a huge cost. Severe punishment, tarnishing the image of the World Cup and the team brand Ghana. South African Football Association has cast fake doubts on the integrity of the World Cup and the Black Stars, sadly, without any shred of evidence, and this must be punished severely. The provisions are very clear on this. And subsection, Article 4, subsection A says, if any of the formal conditions of a protest are set out in these regulations are not met, such protests will be disregarded by the competent body. Notwithstanding the above, the FIFA Disciplinary Committee remains competent to prosecute any disciplinary infringement ex officio as established in the FIFA Disciplinary Code. If an unfounded or irresponsible protest is lodged, the FIFA Disciplinary Committee may impose a fine. For this quest of tarnishing the image of the World Cup and Ghana's senior national team without just cause, we urge the Disciplinary Committee to impose a severest fine and cost on the South African Football Association to serve as deterrent to all others. For if this is left unpunished, it will be repeated by others to the detriment of the World Cup. In conclusion, the FA says in sum, the purported protest of the SAFA is a hoax and an attempt to bring the brand of the World Cup into disrepute and shame. It is our considered position that the purported protest lacks merit and was instituted and without evidence or any grounds whatsoever, and serving only to cause annoyance to the GFA and to tarnish the good image of the World Cup and the Black Stars. We urge for the dismissal of this purported protest with a punitive fine and a huge cost. The Prosper Harrison Ado Esquire, the Ghana Football Association General Secretary, filing there. So basically, the case should be thrown out because they did not lodge it properly. They did not provide the evidence. They did not pay the money required. They are tarnishing the image of Ghana football without providing solid evidence. They have not done the right things that need to be done. They are sending FIFA on a fool's errand, and it needs to be punished to deter others from following such suit again. That's essentially what the FA have responded to FIFA with. Those are their comments and what they think. I just hope SAFA did the right thing, and probably the FA are not privy to it. But this is how the Ghana FA has responded. Let me know your thoughts in the comments box on this one. Quite a lengthy video, but worth the watch. I'll see you guys in the next one. Have a great day.